Knack, knack. Who's there? Yeah, I'd rather not share that with you. Hey, no sweat. Come on in. Make yourself at home and take anything you want. Wait, you wouldn't let a stranger in your house. Why would you let anonymous traffic scrape your website? Introducing IPinfo's Privacy Detection API, a fast and simple way to detect malicious traffic. Activate your free trial today at ipinfo.io, and don't forget to use the promo code CODESTORY at checkout.
We always have to do things to kind of unlock customers' usage of the scale. But when the product has already run, the third, fourth largest website on planet Earth, scale's kind of in the bag. We're actually scaling down at this point. We're trying to scale down tech that has run at the most extreme scale and make sure that everyone can use it. We bring it into the hands of everybody, which is a kind of a different challenge. Other database companies, when they take on their biggest customers, it's a real risk. They really have to make sure they can manage that scale. We kind of have the opposite. We're just like, well, as long as you stay smaller scale than youtube.com, I think we've got you covered. Hi, I'm Sam Lambert, CEO of PlanetScale.
This is Code Story, a podcast bringing you interviews with tech visionaries who share in the critical moments of what it takes to change an industry and build and lead a team that has your back. I'm your host, Noah Laphart, and today how Sam Lambert took an incredible set of tools and built the world's most advanced serverless MySQL platform. All this and more on Code Story. Sam Lambert is originally from the UK and has lived quite a few places during his life. He went to school in India, but now resides in San Francisco. He finds software to be a creative, playful process and sees people trying to build that away from the process. He feels very lucky to be building something that provides fruit and solves problems. Outside of tech, he's married with a 4-year-old and is into cooking and art. I asked about NFTs given his tech background, but he's not super into that form of art at this time. Sam spent time working at Github as a VP of engineering, specifically focusing on infrastructure. He and his team came across Vitess, the backend that ran YouTube, and he took this amazing framework into his current venture to remix their approach of design and scalability. This is the creation story of PlanetScale.
PlanetScale is a cloud-hosted database platform. We host major websites and workloads on our platform. We are known for being able to take databases and the applications that run on those databases to extreme scale. So our backend is technology called Vitess, which was developed at YouTube. They were running it till about 2.5 billion monthly active users, running on tens of thousands of servers. So huge scale. And then the project kind of spun out of Google, picked up by Slack, Yelp, all of these, just so many great tech companies started running on Vitess and contributing to Vitess. And Slack blogged about it. Etsy had a blog series come out this week about their use of Vitess. And then we started using it at GitHub, and I was at GitHub. I was one of the VPs of engineering at GitHub, and specifically, I focused on infrastructure, and I was also the first database engineer to ever join GitHub. And I've spent a long time, nearly 15 years now, in databases. We came across Vitess. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. Incredible technology. And then I eventually found my way to PlanetScale, and we kind of took a bunch of the folks came from GitHub alongside me, and we rebuilt the cloud product to really remix and mix the DNA of this incredibly scalable backend database and the presentation, form, function, and style of GitHub, or at least GitHub's design philosophy and how we build for developers. So this team that's here, we built a platform that has 100 million developers on it, something that has never been done before, and we're applying that to running a database. So, going back to what the product does, it's kind of the best database you could pick on day one of your company, and it is proven and does run the back end of many public companies. And so there's not really other database out there that kind of can claim to be exciting and innovative and work for developers at any scale. And that's really what we're about.
Let's dive into the MVP then. So this will be interesting to see where this started. How long did it take you to build, and what sort of tools did you use to bring it to life? And now, I hear you talking about Vitess, but give me a little more there.
So we had Vitess. Vitess runs on Kubernetes, is extremely mature. So that was a really good starting point. The MVP for the cloud product that, many, many thousands of people use now, we actually went from first line of code to out in beta was less than 6 months. And we did that not only by picking tools that were familiar to us, but also taking a development philosophy, and the way we developed was extremely iterative. We would have a demo of what we were doing every Friday. Monday, we would pick what we were doing next, and then we would demo it again on Friday. And we just had this quick cadence of ship, learn, ship, learn, ship, learn. And we still do the same. We deploy and ship many, many times a day and get changes and great things out in front of our users constantly. That was an overhang from kind of us all being used to working in GitHub's culture, which was kind of sometimes hundreds of deploys a day. And so the kind of tools we use, well, Ruby, the stack is Ruby on Rails for kind of the API that powers the web front end. The web front end is a Next.js app. And then in the back end is a lot of Go. Vitess is one of the oldest Go applications in the world, or, is still going. And having those kind of separations and layers means that we can iterate in just different parts of the stack and move really, really quickly.
Okay, let's stick on the MVP for a second. So when you're building any MVP, you got to make certain decisions and trade-offs, right? And probably around tooling that you chose, there were some decisions and trade-offs, or, limiting how you approached the first problem. Tell me a little bit about those and how you coped with those decisions.
Well, we thought really hard about what a database is there to do. One, it's there to obviously do the fundamentals, store your data, give you access to your data, be available, be scalable. Vitess has handled all of that. Vitess makes it seem easy. It's not, but does do that. When it came to the MVP of the whole cloud product, one of our first key insights is when someone signs up to a cloud product, they have an idea in their head. They have a thing, you're in the way of them building the next Stripe or whatever. They've got this incredible idea in their head. They want to get going. I went and I looked at a load of other database platforms, and I looked at how long it takes to get a database. And one of the kind of formerly hot kind of database companies at the time was 24 minutes. And I was like, that's ridiculous. I mean, I would have forgotten what my idea is by 24 minutes. So the first thing we did was decide we're going to be the fastest place to deploy a database. We got it down to practically instant. And actually, Lee Robb from Vercel did this YouTube video very early in our life as a company, measuring 20 different database companies, from sign up to getting a database. And we were fastest. We were number one. And that made me very, very proud. And that took trade-offs, right? You have to do things. You have to have warm pools of machines ready. You have to deliberately care about that. And it was interesting to me that no other cloud database had cared about that before. And we were coming into the market focused on developers. And people would say to us, I care so much about creating a database so quickly. It was really telling that other companies don't do that. And I think it's because they don't quite understand what developers are using their product for. And so we really thought about this and thought about how developers would use the product, and it kind of very much influenced how we did things in the early days.
This episode is sponsored by Vanta. You're a startup founder. Finding product market fit is probably your number one priority. But to land bigger customers, you also need security compliance. And obtaining your SOC 2 or ISO 27001 certification can open those big doors. But they take time and energy, pulling you away from building and shipping. And that's where Vanta comes in. Vanta is the all-in-one compliance solution helping startups like yours get audit ready and build a strong security foundation quickly and painlessly. How, you ask? Vanta automates the manual security tasks that slow you down, helping you streamline your audit. And the platform connects you with trusted vCISOs to build your program, auditors to get you through audits quickly, and a marketplace for essentials like pen testing. Join over 8,000 companies, including many Y Combinator and Techstars startups who trust Vanta. Simplify compliance and get $1,000 off at vanta.com/codestory. That's VANTA.com/codestory. This episode is sponsored by Kinsta. Between juggling client meetings, managing your website, and keeping up with everyday tasks, who has the time to stress out about website security? Well, with Kinsta, the technical stuff is taken care of, so you can focus on what you do best. Kinsta provides managed hosting for WordPress, offering lightning-fast load times, top-tier security, and unmatched human-only customer support. Whether you're a business owner, web developer, or running a digital agency, Kinsta makes managing your website easy and efficient. Kinsta provides enterprise-grade security, being one of the few hosting providers for WordPress with SOC 2 and other certifications, guaranteeing the highest level of security for your website. Thanks to their unlimited free expert-led migrations, Kinsta ensures a smooth transition for you from other hosting providers. Customers have reported 200% faster load times post-migration to their platform. What I find cool about Kinsta is their fast and reliable customer service and premium features that are included at no extra cost. Ready to experience Kinsta's hosting for yourself? Get your first month free when you sign up at kinsta.com today. That's KINSTA.com. From that point, you got your MVP. How did you progress the product and mature it? And I think to wrap that question in a box a little bit, what I'm looking for is, how did you go about building your roadmap? What process did you follow, or what sort of things did you include to decide, okay, this is the next most important thing to build for Planet Scale?
We listen to customers. First of all, customers are so important. We listen to everyone that will give us feedback. Now, do we do everything people say? No. We have a very strong opinion. We take very strong opinions how databases should be operated, what they should do. And so we also just have our opinion. We have experience using databases, operating databases at scale. So we reflect a lot on what our users are looking for and what they need. And then we discuss it. We don't do the kind of big decentralized planning where everyone goes and gets their opinion. We have a small group of people sit down and discuss at length the problems that we face and that our users face and really dial into what they need. And then you do the classic thing with roadmaps. You look at what will move the needle the most and is easier. You look at what things are just going to naturally take a very long time. So you need to get going on those, and what pieces unlock other pieces. And you kind of tease it together. And we don't build long roadmaps. There's a few things we're working on now that will probably be a year long. If you're building and releasing a database that runs a significant chunk of the internet, you have to be very careful and deliberate about making those changes. So we're working on those, but everything else of the kind of the surfaces, the area, which is the team that is the name of the team that actually manages all the surfaces that humans interact with. Those we iterate on quickly, and we really build that quarter by quarter, because I just don't believe you can build long roadmaps. Be right. We just take a very iterative approach, look at what's working, measure whether it worked, and then take the next iteration.
Okay, let's switch to team then. So how did you go about building your team? And what did you look for in those people to indicate that they were the winning horses to join you?
Just looked at everyone, all of the fantastic people I'd worked with in the past, and kind of started trying to convince them one by one to join the company. And then they knew people from other companies that came along. Our philosophy at Planet Scale is that we want to have a very small team of incredible people. We have a very deliberate performance culture, and that kind of creates this flywheel of just more and more great people trying to kind of bring each other and attract each other to the company. It's not an easy way to run a company always. It takes diligence. It takes really thinking about what performance and being effective at a company is. But yeah, we build it by just looking for absolutely the best folks. I mean, there's some people at our company that are world leading in their field, and it's great. It's a really easy way to do things as well, when you just attract kind of amazing people to your company and give them lots of freedom and hard problems to solve. It kind of works from there.
Okay, this will be fun to ask. Given the nature of your product and the description of the tools you're already using, but I'm going to ask it a little bit blindly and let you just run. Did you build this to scale efficiently from day one, or are you fighting this as you grow in any capacity?
We always have to do things to kind of unlock customers' usage of the scale. But when the product has already run, the third, fourth largest website on planet Earth, scale's kind of in the bag. We're actually scaling down at this point. We're trying to scale down tech that has run at the most extreme scale and make sure that everyone can use it. We bring it into the hands of everybody, which is a kind of a different challenge. Other database companies, when they take on their biggest customers, it's a real risk. They really have to make sure they can manage that scale. We kind of have the opposite. We're just like, well, as long as you kind of sort of wryly say to customers, as long as you stay smaller scale than youtube.com, I think we've got you covered. So yeah, I mean, we are about scale, but working at any scale for anybody. no matter where they are in their business life, giving them a simple and smooth graduation path from having no users to having billions of users.
You would be the first person I've had on the show that have said we're actually trying to scale down from something that has already, been built for that type of scale. It's super cool.
Interesting problem, right?
Absolutely. Okay, so as you step out on the balcony and you look across all that you've built, what are you most proud of?
I try not to be too proud. I think I'm most proud of the team. We all find faults and flaws. You look at the product and you're like, oh, I liked that 6 months ago, and I have annoyed at it. It just happens, right? You have to keep moving forward. No one else is going to make your product better for you. So I try not to be too proud. I think the most proud of the team. Just a really great set of people that are incredibly talented and very chill and funny and fun and well-spirited. And I love coming to work and working with all of these people. So I think probably the team. And then next is like opening up multiple apps that are in the top 50 of the App Store that I have on my phone and use almost daily. And knowing that the backend is planet scale on our cloud makes me also very, very happy. It's just this incredible thing to know that your product is just working and having impact and getting people excited.
Well, let's flip the script a little bit. So tell me about a mistake you made and how you and your team responded to it.
In the early versions of the product, and we still haven't fully corrected this, I think we made some things a bit too magic. That sounds a bit kind of self-congratulatory. It's really not. Magic is not really something you should try and convey, especially in an infrastructure product. But I think we hid a bit too much of what's going on underlying, right? We have this almost just very extremely clean. You don't even see the word server in our UI, right? Even though you can provision, there's people running it with thousands of them behind it or whatever, right? I think we made it very, very simple. Sometimes that gives people a sense that there's not this heft to the product, right? It's kind of, you go in a Tesla and it's a little bit too empty for me. It just feels too stark. And I think we oversimplified some of the product. And now we're kind of trying to really thoughtfully add some more of surfacing what's going on under the hood and making it not scary, not something they even have to care about, but something that they're aware of, that we're doing things for them rather than it just being this kind of magic box that kind of just scales and expands. I think we need to show people a little bit more of what's going on under the hood. So we haven't solved that fully yet, but it's something we're kind of working on right now. That's kind of one of the top of mind things with the product. Okay,
this will be fun. So what does the future look like for the product and for your team?
I mean, first of all, it's really exciting. We're enjoying ourselves, right? We're kind of onboarding customers. We're building a product that people like. Right now, we're migrating 2 of the top 200 websites over to PlanScale onto our cloud platform. So that's that's a lot of work, but it's good work. We know the technology will work for the customer. So that's one thing that's very exciting. Really, the future is keep helping customers win, make them successful, keep building a product that people love. Don't overdo it. Don't crowd the product. Get it just right. Keep dialing in. Keep talking to customers. We've got some more revolutionary products that are coming. We've just shipped PlanScale Boost. That's getting ready to go GA and get into more and more people's hands. And so that's another kind of exciting evolution and starts to really speak to the power of our backend tech. And we're going to just keep building and hopefully keep delighting users with some sort of very special pieces of new technology that people haven't seen before.
Okay, let's switch to you, Sam. Who influences the way that you work? Name a person or many persons or something you look up to and why.
A lot of different people I look up to. I tend to take influence not from any one individual because we're all different. We're all good at certain things. We're all deeply flawed in some ways. For me, I take inspiration from achievement that groups of people have made and products that people have built or things that are exciting or things that are compelling. So yeah, I don't really look to being any one type of person. I kind of just want to build great things like others have built great things. Apple products, for example, is a bit cliche, but Apple products are something that kind of kicked off my love of computers, the bicycle for the mind, these incredible devices that can be presented so evocatively and so beautifully and cleanly. I take inspiration there. I take inspiration how you can take deep technology like LiDAR, hard technologies, and embed them in a phone so that people can unlock it just by looking at it, right? And then this technology is hidden behind a single, quite hard to break glass screen. So this kind of engineering that presents deep and complicated engineering so beautifully and simply and powerfully and impacting so many people. So it's like kind of products and things like that have changed people's lives and that are the result of humans and different types of humans collaborating in unison to build really inspires me.
Okay, so we talked about a mistake earlier, but a little bit different spin. If you could go back to the beginning, what would you do different? Or where would you consider taking a different approach? It doesn't have to be a mistake. Could have worked really well, but you tweak it a little.
At first, we kind of hid a little bit that we were a MySQL database. Not too much. We didn't exactly push it forward. There's just a massive amount of MySQL databases out there in the world that need modernization and need a modern platform. So I think we would have gone out a bit more boldly about being that. We went very serverless, very much just being planet scale the database, not really talking about that we are the best way to kind of scale MySQL databases. Yeah, I think we would have done that potentially differently. I don't know, though. It could have been a different history. But there's like a lot of other databases, Postgres community, Postgres databases or whatever, kind of are out there and apparently quite cool. And so, yeah, I think we were a little bit maybe embarrassed, but now absolutely not. I mean, we're very proud of the way we've built our technologies and what it's doing for people, and the fact that we're moving lots from other databases over to the platform. Really happy with that. Maybe would have done that differently, but it's not clear. I very rarely regret anything. I think regret is a quite useless emotion. I mean, you should just learn your lessons very quickly and move on. That's all, and you should break decisions down into as smaller chunks as you need and then just treat it almost like a shotgun blast. If it goes in the right direction, you'll hit it right and you'll get it done. People who lump together giant decisions to be made will fail because no one is right all of the time. You have to be kind of directionally correct and then make lots of decisions very, very quickly. And then no one big decision matters. It's about the small, undoable, or, decisions that can just change and move around. And so, that's how we do it. We do small iterations.
Well, last question, Sam. So you're getting on a plane and you're sitting next to a young entrepreneur who's built the next big thing. They're jazzed about it. They can't wait to show it off to the world. Can't wait to show it off to you right there on the plane. What advice do you give that person, having gone down this road a bit?
Pick good technologies. I know that sounds self-serving, but having scaled now a number of companies, picking bad technologies is way more consequential than people realize. I know people talk about just get it done, go early, ship. Definitely. More important than that is getting something in users' hands. But now, with the kind of new era of serverless and cloud and the way things are, you can pick incredible technologies that will serve you for nearly the entire life of your company, and you can pick them on day one. That's amazing to get that right. Because if you get it wrong and your competitor gets it right, it could be the difference between them winning and you failing. Constantly understand your users, and if it's an early company, don't rush. The early stage when you have like a small group of users that you have constant contact with and you can iterate with is the most in touch you'll ever be with your product. Use that time very wisely, enjoy it and be diligent and learn and really learn your audience, because it's a lot harder to do in the abstract. It's a really special time to be there doing it.
Fantastic advice. Well, Sam, thank you for being on the show today, and thank you for telling the creation story of Planet Scale.
Thank you for having me. It's been really awesome to be here.
And this concludes another chapter of Code Story. Code Story is hosted and produced by Noah Labhart. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the podcasting app of your choice. And when you get a chance, leave us a review. Both things help us out tremendously. And thanks again for listening.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you. while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live full service, real-time updates only in iOS mobile apps. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.